Tzietziets. Numbers chapter 15, verses 38 through 41. Speak to the people of Israel, and tell them to make tassels on the corners of their garments throughout their generations, and to put a cord of blue on the tassels of each corner. And it shall be a tassel for you to look at and remember all the commandments of the Lord, to do them, not to follow after your own heart and your own eyes, which you are inclined to whore after. So you shall remember and do all my commandments and be holy to your God. I am Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Yahweh your God. This is a commandment that much of mainstream Christianity does not likely realize existed. The commandment is simple enough. Tassels that look like these are to attach to your garments. They contain a blue thread. Many understand that there are to be 4 tassels. The reason for this is because the commandment speaks of attaching the tassels to the 4 corners of our garments, so it is inferred that there are to be at least 4 tassels. Whether or not that assumption is exactly right, we know for sure that there are to be at least 2, because the word tassels is plural. At any rate, the symbolism of 4 corners should be clear. Just as it is a Hebraic idiom to understand that the 4 corners of the world relates to the whole world, the 4 corners of our garments implies that we are to be fully clothed in the Word of God. Our whole being is to remember His commandments, always. In Hebrew, the word corners and edges are from the same word. Some have modified their clothing to contain 4 corners or edges and then attach the tzitzits there. Some wear traditional Hebrew garments for the tzitzits to attach to. Others simply wear the tzitzits on their belt loops or their pants, as many have realized that belt loops have 4 corners as well. None of these methods are more right than the other. They all fit what Yahweh is asking us to do. He simply said, attach tassels containing a strand of blue to the 4 corners of our garments. How we choose to do that, He left up to us. The point is that we wear tzitzits to help us visually remember the commandments of God, which does imply, of course, that they are to be visible and worn as often throughout the day that one wants to be reminded to keep the commandments of God. We would expect that one would want to be reminded all day long, of course. It is understood that they should be visible, as they would certainly not be much of a reminder if they were not seen. Hidden tzitzits, or the lack thereof, sort of defeats the purpose of tzitzits being a visual reminder that was clearly the intent given to us by our Creator. Because this commandment can be carried out as instructed, and because they are to be visible reminders of obedience, most realize that this commandment is not only symbolic or internalized, but physically observed as well. That would mean that not wearing tzitzits would be considered a sin, 1 John 3:4. There are many different styles and lengths, as Torah establishes no other detailed criteria. There are instances in which Jesjoea condemned the Pharisees in wearing tzitzits that were too long. This is not because it is necessarily bad to wear long tzitzits, but he knew the heart of the Pharisees. The Pharisees did not wear long tzitzits because it might help them to better remember Yahweh's commandments. Instead, their tzitzits were there to draw attention to themselves. That is not to be their purpose. So, when wearing them a certain way, we want to make sure we check our motives as to the reason why. There are instructional videos on how to make your own, and there are places online that sell them as well. Some teachings we have on this subject are the teachings Blue, Should Women Wear Tzitzits, and Streets of Torah.